Yo, what's going on, guys? We're going to be taking a look at a silver jungler. It's playing primarily Lee Sin. I would personally recommend you play something more like Xin Zhao or Shaco. I think that would be much better for the skill level. Lee Sin's a little bit more skill shot reliant, and he doesn't really scale that well. Taking the runes that you have here, Conquer and Inspiration, looks fine. Looks very, very standard. The free boots, Cosmic Insight's pretty OP. If you are going to be running for Conqueror, you can also easily go for Tenacity or Last Stand. If it's a really scrappy 1v1 jungler like Warwick, then you'd probably want Last Stand instead. And if they have a lot of non-displacements and non-suppressions, then going for Tenacity would be really good too. But in terms of runes, level order looks fine. This is more of a level order if you're starting on blue side. If you're going to be starting on red side and taking raptors or golems, you're going to want to get your E level 2. If you're getting WQ level 1 and 2, then this is more of a blue side, like blue into Gromp into wolves, because you don't necessarily have to have E to take wolves efficiently. With that being said, your item rush is fine. Gore Drinker really OP on Lee Sin. You went into Lucidities. The team mat is a complete waste in my opinion. I wouldn't bother with that. That's just a really wasteful item. Lee Sin has lots of good items. Edge of Night, Guardian Angel, Death Stance, Black Cleaver. He has all sorts of items he can build after your Gore Drinker Sterix. But generally, 9 out of 10 games are going to be going Gore Drinker into Sterix unless the enemy team's super tanky, in which case you can pick up a Black Cleaver. With that being said, let's jump right into it. So this game, you are going up against a Xin Zhao. It's a pretty even matchup as long as you're landing your stuff on Lee Sin. You should be able to beat him in the one-on-one. So yeah, we should be fine. I like how you're keeping watch. You don't generally want to lay your ward down on Lee Sin because you want to save it for a gank option. So keeping watch here is good. You're not in vision of the bush. This is a good spot to stand. Ideally, someone would be watching this side, but I mean, it is what it is. Like ideally, at the start, you ping your teammates. So you do, so right as you're leaving Fountain, you do a blue ping here, you do a blue ping here, and you do a blue ping here. And then you can just like watch one side, and then they watch the rest. Like there's no point for Ezreal and Lux to both be in this bush. It's completely pointless. That's a small thing. So one of the biggest things you need to think about, especially on early game junglers, what the heck is your plan this game? You need to be thinking about your win condition. In my opinion, they way outscale you. The Malzahar is going to way outscale the Pantheon. Kell's going to outscale the Teemo. Varus and Ezreal are kind of tied in scaling, and so are the Lux and Brand. So they have two champs that are going to outscale you, essentially. So your win condition this game is Dragon Soul or Double Herald trying to end. Since this is silver, it might be hard to end with your teammates like pre-30. Or I should say pre-25 minute. So probably Drag Soul win con. Maybe get a first turret with a Herald, something like that. Like I said, if you are going to start on red side, it's pretty important that you get your E level 2. Let's keep that in mind. E level 2 is really nice. I would not recommend trying to do Raptors or anything like that. Let's see if you're cycling your ability properly. So you use it, auto, and then I don't think you used it again. You can click it twice on your Q, W, and E. And each time you press it, it's like for your W, it's a shield. And then the second time you use it, you get like extra lifesteal and spell vamp for 4 seconds. Plus, every time you use one of your abilities, you get 2 empowered auto attacks, which is extra attack speed and also restores your energy. So really make sure you're reactivating your ability. It'll speed up your clear and keep you a lot healthier. So yeah, you're gonna have to skip Raptors if you don't want to get E. You can take these. If you're gonna take these at level 2, you'd smite the big one. So you'd walk up with your E, you'd bop it, you'd smite the big one and auto down the little ones, kite them out. But I mean, this is fine. You randomly stopped. I don't know what that was. Looks like we're gonna do a 4 camp clear into Scuttle here. I mean, we could invade the Xin Zhao. Since you're low elo or in lower elo, you just assume 9 out of 10 games the jungler's going to start with their bot lane. And if you want to know for sure where they're starting, I'll show you. Forgot to mention this. You just see who gets to lane first, because in low elo people pretty much always get leashes. It's pretty rare to see leashless. So when you're doing this, you're looking at the minimap just to see which laners get to lane first. I know you're like, okay, Kale got to lane first. You don't even necessarily have to click there to look. Like if she was missing mana and stuff, then he probably started red buff, unless she's trying to bait you. But 9 out of 10 times she got there first. That means the bot lane's leashing him. That's all you need to know. And then they get there super late. So yeah, you just assume he started on his blue buff. Xin Zhao normally will clear out his full blue side. So you could have done a 3 camp clear, red buff into blue gromp, invade him. Probably get him on his red. Get him as he's taking it. That would have been an option. I would have preferred to see you do... I guess maybe play more around your ignite lane. I think killing the Kel's gonna probably be pretty easy. Teemo the Kel early game. See what you do. You go for the blue buff. Auto Q. You should immediately be using your ability though. If you have the energy, so after you used your Q, you auto-autoed, then you Q'd again, you auto-autoed, but then you didn't use your W for like another 2 auto attacks. You might as well just use your abilities. They're low cooldown and they help you clear your camp faster. Yeah, you don't need to take that extra damage. Lee Sin doesn't really take camps at the same time. He's not fiddlesticks. You're better off just getting him out of the way. For each extra auto you take, it's like gonna make it harder to gank. Ideally, whenever you're ganking or invading, you're full health, so you're not likely to die. Taking a lot of unnecessary damage. We W, auto, W. So in this case, we've autoed 1 or 2 times since our W's been up, and we've autoed once since our Q's been up. What we would want to do, since he's really low, and we're only going to get to auto him a few more times, is we would probably click RW twice immediately to get the life steal. That way we heal back a little bit, and then we just QQ. So we would W, auto, QQ, and just finish him. In situations like these, you don't have to perfectly cycle it down because it's going to die after a few hits anyways. But basically we would have gotten back a little bit extra health, just something to think about. If you're going to 4 camp clear, you'll pretty much get into the river just around this time, around 245 to 250. So at this point, you'd want to find a gank. You'd look top, kind of gankable. You'd look mid. If you're going to gank top, you're going to assume Lee Sin's going to be here. So you're either going to invade Lee, or you can come wait here until Scuttle spawns in. But you don't want to wait here until it spawns in. Since you already know Xin Zhao started bot side, there's like a really high chance he's going to come gank Teemo since Teemo's pushed up. Ganking mid's kind of bad, in my opinion, because we don't know where Malzahar is. He could have just backed. This is low elo. People randomly back. So this is a bit of a weird invade, in my opinion. Xin Zhao technically has mid prio since your mid laner's back here. We really don't need to show here. I guess we're going for bottom scuttle. Here's the thing. Pantheon, he technically has mid prio to get to scuttle first. He doesn't have mid prio to get to here first versus their mid laner, because obviously it's closer to their turret. You have top prio right now to where you might as well have stayed for top scuttle, in my opinion. Like, coming bot side, there's really no point. And you already know Lee Sin's over. You already know Xin Zhao's over here. So best thing you could have done was stayed and like fought for this basically, and you would have won because you have pretty heavy lane prio. But instead, it looks like we're going to give him free scuttle for some reason, and now like we're going to get a scuttle, but we could have easily killed him. So we take this scuttle. Always, whenever you're farming, you're going to want to look to your 2 closest lanes and figure out if they're gankable. So in this case, you would say, all right, they're kind of low and they're pushed up, and you'd look mid and you'd say, you know, Pantheon's kind of low. He's full health. You already know Xin Zhao's in the area, so I probably would leave this because of that reasoning, and I'd just go bot and kill Varus. So, yep. Pantheon should just TP back. It looks like one of them dies, but he's still pushed up really far. You're pretty much just going to walk into him. If you have a ward, I would just lay the ward on him and ward dash into him. Start getting your red buff auto attacks on him for the slow. You don't want to Q here first. You want to get into auto range and E range. So like your E has more range than your autos. Your ward dash has more range than your E. You get the point. But we don't want to Q this early. If he had dodged this, like God forbid he dodged it or flashed it, we probably weren't going to be able to kill him. But happens to work because we land it. Just ward dash into him. Yep. You'll get him on your next Q cycle. Now he decides to flash. He's lined himself up against the wall. So if you just keep walking this way, you can throw out a centered Q, and you can't juke this way, and you can't run straight, so he pretty much just dies. Just take it, shield yourself. Oh, jeez. That was tough. I'm just curious if you could have played this better. So you Q him. I think you paused for some reason. There was no reason to wait. Like, he's already out of mana, and he's on cooldowns, right? So we land the Q. Look how long we wait. That's extra space he dragged us under turret. So if you are going to wait to activate your Q2, you need to have like a really good reason for why you're waiting, because that actually killed you. It got you creep blocked, and it got you under the turret for longer. So at this point, you look at like the enemies on the mini map, right? You go boom as you're walking to your camps. You go Neo mode. You're like, oh, okay, kind of gankable, not really. Pantheon's probably gonna die. You look top, very, very, very gankable. Kel shouldn't even be here right now. You have potentially something bot as well. Just keep scanning. Generally, you look at the 2 closest lanes. When you're coming back to base, you look at all 3 to figure out what your best option is. Bot lane's probably not gankable right now, so I would just farm it up. Push towards mid lane, maybe. Push towards mid top. Get off your autos, nice. We spread ourselves a little bit thin there. It's fine to Q to get to it. We could have actually Q'd much sooner. We get our E down. We auto E, auto. Like, we didn't take the... basically, we only did 3 out of 4 of our E autos. And then we auto only once before we reactivated our W. Since the camp's still like full HP, this is where cycling our abilities, at least 5 out of 6 of our empowered autos would be nice. But here we only did like 4 out of 6 of our empowered autos before we casted our next spell. Just think about that a little bit. You don't have that much damage. That's going to pull down your clear time whenever you're doing stuff like that by a couple of seconds. Doesn't seem like much, but it really does start to add up. See, there's some action going on bot. I would wait for Bran to maybe step up. It's kind of rough, though, because he's lower on health. You're probably just best off leaving this. Play towards your win condition, Dragon Souls, and easy ganks. Now we W, auto, W. Yep, that's good. You set it up for your E. This looked a bit better. You see Teemo just killed the Kale, and you know Kale's only level 5. The best thing you could do is like come top, and you guys kill her right here before she can get to her turret. So you would pretty much run straight to this spot, and then you guys would kill her. And you'd ping it out. You'd put like a blue ping, you ping turret, and then you put the second blue ping like right here. So when Teemo's autoing, he's attacking it from here, and then you guys just pinch her. Since she's not level 6, I think you guys win the 2v2 as well, because Teemo's 6, he can blind the Xin Zhao or the Kel. Looks like she TP'd back. Level 4. Also keep in mind, having ganks and successful ganks is really important, other than just getting kills and gold, because the minions are worth a bunch of XP. So if you can split some minions with your teammates, you'll get really far ahead. You'll hit that's how you hit level 6 consistently before 7-minute mark as jungler. If you never leech minion XP, then you're not gonna hit level 6. You could kill him easy. Like, you don't have to. I feel like we're just throwing out our Q way too early. If you've ever played Blitzcrank or Thresh, you like never do this. It's the same with Lee Sin. You only ever throw out a max range Q if you have to. Normally, when you're approaching this area, you normally approach it more from this top side to get into the bush. You don't really approach it from this bottom angle. This bottom angle is a weird way to approach from. Q, we could definitely fight this though. Teemo's level 6. We see their mid laners there. I feel like we would definitely win this. Before and after every fight, you need to check items. If you would have checked items, you would have seen, oh, I have an extra 800 gold spent than Xin Zhao. He's only on his jungle items. So you're up a bunch of gold on him essentially right now. You guys would have definitely won this. She's not even on level 6, and she's really struggling right now. We definitely should have fought this. That probably would have been at least 1 kill, if not a double plus turret plates. So another big tip, other than checking your 2 closest lanes to gank when you're actually in base. You're supposed to check all 3. Is check items before you fight, and then you'll know if it's a good fight or not. I feel like for the way you've been playing, it's actually been relatively passive. Like how we didn't fight for this top scuttle even when we had huge top prio. I almost feel like you should be playing something like Kane, a jungler who can power farm early and build a huge lead. You see their jungler's top, so you go for Dragon. It's solid. The Pinkwood's making it tough. We smited it a bit too early, but at least we got it. Probably go for your red buff. You're low. I don't think this is going to turn out well for you guys since you're just missing so much health. You're missing about over 400 health. You're missing about 35-40% of your health right now, and they're about full health, so it's going to be tough. Just get red buff. You already got the Dragon. You don't have to... Oh, alright. Malzahar, I guess his R is on cooldown. I didn't realize that. If you knew his R was on cooldown, then this is fine, but I thought his R was up. You get the shield, the E down, nice Q. Do you see how easy it is to land your Q at point blank range? I like how you didn't throw out Q to start with. That was really nice. Iron Spike Whip's so funny to use. You pretty much just use your Iron Spike Whip as an auto attack resetter, or you use it at the same time you're using your E. Wraps, probably grab our red buff. See how we're still not level 6 and it's 7-minute 40? As a jungler, your mindset should be, I need to hit level 6 no later than 7-minute 30 at the latest. If we're hitting it later than that, that means we're pretty far behind. Like we see, like Lux is level 6. Your teammates are level 7, a couple of them. That's why I think Kane might actually be a better option. Like Lee Sin, you got to be looking for some dive options if possible. You got to be looking for scuttle fights. Things really kind of next level stuff. This is why I don't really recommend Lee Sin, or at least for people who aren't at least plat 1 and up. You got the ward. I like the jump into the Q. Really nice. He's point blank range, really no way for him to block it. You have your R. Whenever you're dealing with multiple people, you want to be looking for the R multi knockup. So ideally, you would ward the bush. I'm pretty sure Xin Zhao's right there. So you just R him into Varus. Nice. Nice. Not bad. The only thing I would have done differently here is... Well, first of all, Lux really hosed you over with her shield placement. After you landed that Q, I might have like took 2 steps over and then E to get off a double E, but I mean, realistically, it wasn't bad. It was a good limit test. The main thing that went wrong in it is Lux's shield was just really rough, but I liked the double R into the Q. The QR looked pretty good. Not too shabby. So this is something low elo junglers struggle with. A lot of times they won't think there's ganks. So if you're just looking on your mini map right now, then you're like, oh, top isn't gankable. You're like, okay, bot is, and we don't even see mid lane. But if you actually look, like if Kel was missing half health, she would be diveable. But in this case, she's full health, so probably not. See mid lane, he's full. Pantheon's almost dead. It's gonna be kind of hard to gank. Level 7, Kel's finally starting to shove up. This is free. This is so free. I would just take this. Whenever you pan over, you want to think of what they're thinking about. What do you think she'd be thinking about? She'd most likely be thinking, I need to finish shoving this wave so I can back or be safe. So you just run up. I think you could catch her out. She's taking her sweet time. She really should have pushed harder, because now her wave's going to get caught on this. That's going to bone her over. If she would have just actually tried to push that way, she might have been able to get under the turret. You could go for this. I would have personally preferred the Kel play. This will be, yeah, never throw out your Q max range like this, unless they don't know you're there. But, I mean, he even has his little spell shield, so it's not really worth. Plus, there was a minion. I think he might have even had vision of you when you did that, because you'd cross the wall barrier. We'll see if he knew. I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah, we're out in the open because this minion basically gave vision. Yeah, that's why we don't throw out max range Qs. Now we can't kill him even though he's Doesn't have R and it's low mana. We could ward jump into him and still get him, in my opinion. Unless you thought Xin Zhao was in the area, we could ward jump, double E, just stay on top of him, get our Q reset. Definitely killable since he was so far away from turret. He was running the wrong way. Teemo dies to Kel. This game's starting to look really rough, man, because we already talked about how Malzahar and Kel are going to way outscale your team. Your team's very early game other than the Ezreal Lux. Lux kind of scales. It's not amazing, but it's probably at least high B tier scaling. You see Xin Zhao's up there. If Dragon was up, you'd go for that. Varus, once again, whenever you're farming, you got to be looking. This is why you should never play on lock screen. If you want to lock your screen, use the space bar. The second you take your finger off of it, it'll unlock your screen so you can look around easier. But like, this is free. You have to put your mind in that of your opponents. Your bot lane just got spanked, right? You saw Brand back if you were paying attention. He's crashing a fat wave. He's out of mana for the most part, so you can't really fight back. So what do you think he's thinking right now? He just killed the laners. What is he thinking? I'll tell you what he's most likely thinking. He's thinking, I want to get turret plates. I have a big wave, and he's going to stay for at least one plate. So you don't need this. Like a kill, like think about it. These minions, in terms of just raw XP alone, are worth nearly 3 monster camps, right? This is only worth 1 monster camp worth of golden XP. It's going to take a while. So the minions alone are better than getting this. Or if you just got the kill, obviously that's more worth. So I would have just left this, come get the kill. And now he gets away scot-free. You miss out on like 6 minions. And you're not even going to finish the camp anyways. This is why it's really, really, really important not to lock your screen permanently. And it's really important to look around constantly at the 2 closest lanes. Because enemies will make constant mistakes. It's not a matter of are the enemies making mistakes. It's a matter of, are you seeing those mistakes? Are you paying attention to see when they're messing up? And if you're just not seeing it, then obviously the mistake isn't going to be punished. That's been one of the main themes this game. I feel like we're probably playing on lock screen. So when you're looking at, you can't do anything here. There's no way. There's no way. They're both full health. This is not going to turn out well for you if you try to fight that. You can catch the wave though. And in my opinion, the game's over. I don't want to be negative Nelly, but you guys don't scale. If you had some kind of scaling champ like Veigar or maybe a long range AD carry like Jinx, I'd say you'd have a chance. I just don't see it. Because who's going to engage on your team? You? Lee Sin isn't really the engage. He's a backup engage. He's almost like a support engage, right? But he's not the tank. He's not the Malphite R. So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. They're going to outrange you with the Varus Qs. And the moment you or Pantheon have the audacity to step up, you're going to get Malzahar R'd. And the moment you or Pantheon have the audacity to actually get in on someone, even if you get through the Malzahar R, Kel's going to R them. This game's going to be really rough. The only way we win this is if we get Drag Soul. That's it. Get the Q, take it. You get as champions, you don't have to cycle your autos as much, because like you see here, you just double Q'd into a double E, hopefully. You got off an auto, then your second E. Ward dash into autos. Ooh, that was rough. You gotta be looking at where the walls are. You crisscross that at a really sharp angle. You could have thrown it much more centered, and he would have had very few juke options because of this wall. But it is what it is. Also, remember how we said we always check people's items before and after fights? So obviously you would have seen, oh, I'm Gore Drinker. He's no full item. I have full item advantage. You would have also clicked on him and said, oh, he's moving at 370. I'm moving at 380. Whenever you click on them in game, it'll like show you up in the corner and you can see these same stats like in the real game. So you would have known, you could have just walked with him. You didn't have to slow down to cast abilities. He's gonna die. Yeah, he shouldn't have done that. Hitting that plant was a mistake. Now that he's dead, you'd look for an objective. You'd go immediately for Dragon. That is your win condition. I always play for the win condition. With that being said, I don't think Lee Sin was a good pick here. If you were Red Kane, I think this would be winnable. Red Kane with a QSS would be decent. A lot better than a Lee Sin. But yeah, this is free Dragon. Their jungler was dead. We're goofing around instead. Should have been a dragon. We drop the Eve, get down the slow. Yeah, I can tell you this isn't going to turn out well. If you check items, mid laners are tied in items and you're tied with Cal, but they're both a level up. Generally, when you see people are higher levels, it means they're stronger. Oh, yeah, she got down her R. Good for her. You get the kill. Yeah, you're going to die. That's just game, man. At this point, there's nothing you can do other than like waiting for them to dive you guys. At this point, it's just a comp diffy. It's a bit of a comp diffy. Like, even if it was me on Lee Sin at this point, right? I'm not a challenger Lee Sin by any means. I could comfortably carry games on Lee Sin at a diamond level, but after that, I wouldn't. I haven't played him enough, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to carry this game from here, man. Absolutely not. Nice little dragon still. Remember, the new smite does more damage than it used to. It does 900 once you have your red or your blue smite, so you can smite that much earlier. It was quite a while below that. That's nice little still. Why did Lux just do that? Holy crap. Oh, that's a tilter. And then you jumped out to her. Like, what is she doing? She's not letting you jump to her, and then she goes over. What? Like, imagine if she just didn't do that. You jumped over, and then she could have still... Maybe she didn't know she could throw snare over the wall? I don't know. That was pretty painful, though. I mean, technically, if you could steal the other two dragons, you guys might have a chance. Who knows? Maybe in a team fight, they walk up and Lux hits free snares. It's going to be tough, though. You're going to have to keep stealing drags. That's the only thing you can do at this point. Ooh, that makes me nervous. Yeah, that's why I was nervous, dude. That's what we call Lee Sin Q syndrome. It's where a Lee Sin player lands a Q, and regardless of the situation, they take it. So, two things here. One, whenever you're playing a highly mobile champion, you need to consider where your teammates are. Oftentimes, they can't keep up with you. Teemo, Ezreal, they can't keep up with this. Second, you're already missing a huge chunk of health. You're missing 400 health, nearly. When you go in here, first of all, he has more items than you. Kill has more items than you. When you go in here, you have to think about what's going to happen. I'm already missing a third health. You go in, bada boom, you're out of there. And by the time your teammates got there, it was like you're already dead. You died by the time they could land autos. So this was just a limit test gone wrong. Consider your health and items before you use stuff like that. If you were 2 full items, I would say sure, go for it. If you had your stairs, I'd say go for it. If neither one of them had a full item, I'd say do it. But obviously that's not the case. Xin Zhao randomly inting, Kel randomly chasing. Who knows? Maybe this game is a way to go. I don't know what they're doing. Pantheon gets absolutely shredded. Malzahar is going to be the biggest problem now. He's going to press R and outplay you guys with his point and click R. Malzahar going for the dive, losing a bunch of health. There's holding on to his Q for next game. What? Why did you just snipe the Teemo? Oh, let me go back and see what you did. Coming back, you got your Lucidities. I think Merc Treads would have also been good this game. If you're not going to go Tenacity on Lee Sin, then Merc Treads are actually really, really good. Especially, they have the Varus Snare, the Brand Stun, Kale Slow, Sin Slow. I mean, they would have been solid. You land the Q straight into E. Nice. It's pretty much Q into E, auto, E, and then you're shielding yourself. You can usually pinch off an auto before you need to E2, like the second E. Even though you got a couple of kills, you guys can't Baron. You're kind of low and you guys are weak, so Baron's completely off the table. Plus, it's just a Herald. I don't think Herald would be safe here either. You guys don't have any wards. They have full map pressure. Push this away from where they're at. Yep, just like this. Ooh, this is a kill, my friend. You need to get him out of here, though. You need to, like, smack him over the wall with your R. Get him away from his teammates. If this drags out, okay. Oof. If this drags out, you need to like know where people are. If this drags out, you're dead. So you need to get him away from this team. So your Q's on cooldown. Here's what you do. You just walk up. You have... I mean, you're stronger. He's already missing 50 health, right? You have red smite. He has blue smite. If you're ever fighting a blue smite jungler and you're a red smite jungler, you're going to win those fights like 8 out of 10 times, assuming you're both relatively equally fed. Now, in terms of items, you're pretty equal, but he's tanking this thing. And you need to... you just walk up, hit him with the E first, bro, or get into auto range before you Q, but we can't be missing these. If we slow him with our E first, there's no way we can miss it. He probably wins this now. You also need a red smite. Red smite, think of it like an exhaust. It's the same thing, really. You take a bunch less stam, just like 30%. Yeah, 20% reduced damage from the champion that you red smite for, I think it's like 2.5 seconds. Really, really strong. You're dead. Oh, there's no way you're living here. Or are you? What a beast. Yeah, you don't have a ward jump or anything. All you can do is W shield yourself. You should okay, you saved it for minion. That's fine. I would have probably used it sooner, but I guess you knew she couldn't quite kill you. Calculated. Kill out of position. Bada boom. She's out of here. Play for that dragon soul, dude. I believe in you. Make sure you're alive. Dragon's 50 seconds from spawning in. They're laying the herald. You finish it off. Definitely would get the pick on the low people here. They ran into a Teemo mushroom. You can't go in. Absolutely not. Remember your win condition. You guys aren't going to win team fights at this point. You need to let them either dive you and you fight then like you guys did here. You're going to lose the fight when you chase like this because you're not under a turret anymore. Just wait, distill the dragons. Also, the team mat's pointless. You should have gone Sterix. Once you guys are team fighting, like Sterix is probably the best item in the game. He's kind of out of mana. If he has his... If you know he doesn't have his R, you could probably just kill him with red smite. Yeah, take the Q. I'd take it, man. I'd Q Gore Drinker, red smite. He doesn't have ignite, so he can't even cut your heal. He doesn't have any kind of heal cut. There's no way he can kill you. He's out of mana. Malzahar is actually really mana hungry. His abilities cost a lot. 100, 180, 45. Super mana hungry champ. Oh, you know what just happened there. So Xin Zhao tries to fight Teemo on blind art. You pick up the kill. Very nice. You get off this slow. You're out of energy because we didn't get off any auto attacks. You blew your load on her. You have nothing left. They just got dragon. Yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough. Your next move is to try to steal Baron from them or have them walk into Teemo shrooms. Teemo shouldn't be bot right now. You should be shrooming up mid and top and hoping that they keep pushing in. It's gonna be really hard for you to steal Baron. Highly improbable since their whole team's there. Ooh, got a little mushy on him. I'd chase that down. You're 2 levels up. Tied in the items 2 levels up. That's free. You take this too. You went for the Q into the R. That's generally what's best. But in this case, it was really greedy because of the brand. You have a few options. So whenever you're in a situation where someone has a skill shot that's going to kill you, like let's say a Blitzcrank hook, Thresh hook, Lux snare, Morgana snare, or brand stun, right? Your main objective is to dodge that ability and then you're fine. Like here, if we would have used flash to dodge it or just to dodge this initial thing so then he can't stun us, we would be fine. If we ward jump, we'd be fine. If we immediately double Q to dodge it, we'd be fine. But he lands it, and then instead of immediately doing Q2, which we could have done, we walked up to R. So even though in a lot of, I'd say the majority of situations, QRQ is the way to go, because obviously Q execute damage. In situations where you're likely to be hit by a hard incoming CC, like we just discussed, don't do it. It's the same thing with Kayn. Kayn in team fights will usually use his R to dodge stuff like this, because that's gonna kill you. If you had done that properly, you not only would you have killed Kel, well, I don't know, if she has R, you weren't gonna kill her at all. But if she didn't have R, you would have killed her and maybe been able to turn it on the Bran. Now they're gonna shove in with their stronger late game champs. Yep. That's what it's gonna look like. Pantheon doesn't scale at all. Lee doesn't scale great. And they have some of the best scaling champs in the game with the Kel Mals. Kel Mals is really scary. Nice flash E. That was cool. Very cool. No. Ooh, look at you, dude. Are you using your red smite though? That's driving me crazy. I can never tell if you're using it. You have 2 charges of it. I think you're just forgetting to. I guess I would just say whenever you're in a fight, don't forget to press your buttons. Like it's better to button mash than it is to never press the button at all. You even used your Gore Drinker, you just didn't use the red smite. Unfortunate. Alright, dude, I would say overall it was the early game. You obviously had your moments where you were making plays and pressing buttons, but at the end of the day, the Lee Sin and Elise are very proactive champs, and we had moments where we just didn't. One of the first ones, not even talking about your clear, like, you really should have taken Raptors before you crossed over. 5 camp clear into Scuttle is one of the most efficient on Lee Sin. 5 camp Scuttle, very safe. 4 camp, if you are going to do a 4 camp, you really need to make something happen, because you're putting yourself down a full camp and you're delaying your level 4. So even with how this went, we had an opportunity to wait in a forward bush, right? Generally, you wait in this one when your top laner's pushed like this. This sets us up for a dive, or it sets us up to kill the enemy jungler, right? Because we get the drop, we get free Q lands, whatever. But instead, for like Scuttle doesn't spawn until 3:15. Instead, we goof around, we walk up for some reason up here. I don't know why. Like we already know he started bot side, but we could have invaded him on red. We could have waited over here till Scuttle, and then even though we have huge top prio, we decide to give a free Scuttle to Zin. Like, he just saw you. You walked past his minions. He knows you're not over here. So even though technically he didn't path very good and he should have missed out on both Scuttles and even died, now he's going to get one for free and not die. With that alone, this heavily changed the outcome of the game. I don't remember what happened over here. Oh yeah. Also, throwing out Qs this early, it's pointless. You want to get down your red buff autos and your E slow as soon as possible. This should have been an immediate ward jump, double E into him and just auto him down. We would have saved our flash until he flashed. So queuing this early, it was, imagine if he flashed that Q, he would have actually lived. So don't throw out your Qs early. It's better to get into auto range and E range for the slows than Q. Play around your win condition, which was Dragon Souls, and I guess just easy ganks in this game. Your easy ganks were really the top side. A lot of times Kel was low like this. So in terms of things to improve on, just macro sense, always be looking around the map as much as you humanly can, right? It's like if you're going down a sketchy alley or street at night, you're constantly looking over your shoulder, right? Jungling's the same way. So right now, you're looking at bot, you're looking at the minions. You're like, okay, my bot lane's pushing. I'm not going to gank unless it's a dive option. So unless the enemies are low, right? And then you look mid, you're like, all right, Pantheon sucks. He's low. I probably can't gank this unless Malzahar keeps pushing. And that's just in the back of your mind. Then you're like, bada boom, pressing my button. Boom, boom, boom. Then you look bot, you're like, boom, boom. Maybe a dive. Varus is kind of low. I don't know. And then you look mid again. Malzahar is still pushing. And then you're just doing this. You look again. They're hard scrapping, but now you're like, oh crap, Ezreal's not very good. He's low, right? So we don't want to gank this, in my opinion. And then we would just keep pathing into wraps. But yeah, in terms of the main things for you to improve on, don't waste time on bad ganks like this. Only go to ganks to where you know for a fact you're going to get a kill. I'd recommend muting your teammates every single game. Don't throw out your Q until you have to or until it is guaranteed. Just like with a Blitzcrank or a Thresh would do. And don't be afraid to take fights that you should win. Always press tab before and after fights to know whether or not you should win it or should have won it. There was a fight earlier with it was Kel and Xin Zhao early game where you had item advantage and Teemo. So you guys should have won that. It should have been like 2 kills plates. Basically, little mistakes early game cost you a ridiculous amount of potential throughout the game on champs like Lee Sin and Elise, which is why their win rates are so unbelievably bad below like Diamond. Which is, if you don't want to implement these changes, I would highly recommend Kane. Other than that, nice job, man, and best of luck to you.